Everyone, I am Aishwarya TN from Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Department of Information of Science. The subject is Principles of Programming using the topic Decision Control and Looping Statement. Decision Control and Looping Statement. Introduction to Decision Control and Looping Statements. Decision control and looping statements are fundamental concepts in programming. They enables programming to make choice and repeat actions based on conditions. Understanding these concepts is crucial for logical problem solving in coding. What is decision control? Decision control allows a program to execute different code based on certain conditions. In conditions, constructs like if else and switch statements. This control structure helps determine the flow of executions in a program. The if statement. This if statements evaluate a specific condition. If the condition is true, the code block within the statement executes. Otherwise, the program continues to the next statement outside the block. The if else statement. The if else statement provides an alternative path when the initial condition is false. It allows for two distinct paths of execution exchange decision making. This structure is useful for binary choices in programming. The else if ladder. The else if ladder enables checking multiple conditions sequentially. If one condition is met, its corresponding block executes, skipping all others. This is beneficial for scenarios where multiple possible outcomes exist. The switch statement. The switch statement is an alternative to multiple if-else statements. It evaluates an expression and executes code based on matching case values. This structure can improve readability and organizations of the code. Understanding looping statements. Looping statements allows a program to execute a block of code multiple times. They are useful for respective tasks and can significantly reduce code redundancy. There are several types of loops, including for, while, and do while loops. For the for loop. The for loop is used when the number of iterations is known beforehand. It consists of three components: initializations, condition, and increment. This structure is particularly effective for iterating over arrays and collections. The while loop. The while loop conditions to execute as long as the specified conditions remains true. It is useful when the number of iterations is not predetermined. Care must be taken to avoid infinite loops by ensuring the conditions eventually becomes false. The do while loop. The do while loop guarantees that the code block execute at least once if checks the conditions after executing the code block, which is unique to this loop. This structure is advantageous when the initial execution is necessary regardless of the conditions. Break and continue statement. The break statement executes the loop incrementally, skipping by remaining in initiation. The condition statement skips the current iterations and proceeds to the next one. Both statements provide additional control over loop execution flow. Nested decision control. Nested decision control refers to placing one decision statement inside another. This allows for more complex decision making scenarios. However, it can lead to decreased readability and should be used judicially. Nested looping statements. Nested loops involves placing one loop inside another, allowing for multiple dimensional iterations. They can be useful for processing multi-dimensional data structures like matrices. However, performance can degrade with executive nesting, leading to longer execution times. So common use case for decision control is widely used in user authentication process. It allows applications to determine user permissions as access level. So decision control is also essential in gaming development for managing players' action. Common uses cases for looping statements. Looping statements are critical in data processing tasks such as reading files. They are used in algorithms that require repeated actions like storing. Best practices for decision control is keep control conditions simple and understandable to enhance code readability. Avoid deeply nested structure to maintain clarity in the decision making process. So best practices for looping statement is enhanced loop exist conditions are well defined to prevent infinite loops. So use meaningful variables names to clarify the purpose of iteration. Minimize the number of nested loops to reduce complexity and improve performance. So common errors in decision control is one common error is neglecting to account for all possible conditions. Another is creating overly complex or deeply nested logic. So failing to properly use brackets can lead to unlimited execution paths. Common errors in looping statements is an infinite loop can occur if the exit condition is never met. Mismanaging loop counters can result in off by one error. Nested loops can lead to excess processing time if not optimized. So at the last, masterizing decision control and looping statements is essential for effective programming.